Hello, I'm Ranjani Shivaswamy and I'm here to ask one question this time to Anuradha and Dhimant Parekh, the founders of the Better India. At some point or the other, we've all complained about how negative the news that we get to hear is. And we wondered if there's anything good happening in this country. Anuradha and Dhimant wanted to change this perception and they started the Better India with one goal to bring us only positive news. The stories that you get to read on the platform are so inspirational, so infectious that it gets 50 million readers every month. They also proved that it is possible to run a news outlet without writing a single negative story. They've been thriving in doing this for a decade now. My question to you, Anuradha and Dhimant, is how can we break the mold like you did and sustain in the newly created space?
I think I'll take the first one, right? And how can we break the mold? And for that, I would say there are two very important things. One, I think, is it's important to question the status quo. If you really don't question, if you don't really find anything wrong with the way things are currently, I don't think you can think about breaking that mold at all. Right. So the first thing is to clearly identify what you think is wrong with the way things are, and to question why things are the way they are. Right. And once you've gone into that, um, you'll realize that there were a lot of assumptions that people have just been carrying forward over the many years without really kind of questioning why can't these things change. I distinctly remember when we started the Better India, and since we don't come from media backgrounds, I actually ended up speaking to editors and people higher up in mainstream media publications, and almost everyone told me that, hey, nobody wants to read this, so there's no point doing this. So then we question this status quo. Why can't there be a publication that talks about all the good stuff? And I think the second way you have to really kind of break the mold is to start looking at learnings from maybe completely unrelated sectors and bring those learnings into something that's here. For instance, I saw in this space of technology, this is where my original my background is in technology. I saw that there were a lot of learnings about people are just constantly every 6 months breaking down old models of working and coming up with completely new ideas and solutions. And I kind of brought that into this whole space around content and media, and we were able to kind of really break that whole thing and view media from a angle of technology and growth and kind of seeing it very differently. And that's really why I think we were able to build the Better India and scale it to the way it is. So that's your answer on how can we break the mold.
Great. And the second part of your question was once you break the mold, how do you sustain it, right? So I think the answer is very simple. It is about constant innovation. It is about constantly experimenting and doing something that makes you relevant at different points of time. Because every new innovation, any new disruption that comes out, like we did with media, can get old in some time, right? So how do you always keep doing things that keep you new, fresh, and relevant? Try out new things. Do not be afraid of failure. There will always be a lot of experiments that will fail, but that's not a reason to not try out new things. Double down on what's working, what back stuff that really works, and move on from things that don't work. That's okay. Fail, but fail fast. That's always something that we stood by. I would say never get complacent, right? That you did something new, because there will always be more people who will do new things, and that's great. That's exactly what we should celebrate, right? The whole spirit of disruption and the whole spirit of doing things differently and building new things. It's always great for our teams also to stay relevant and to keep to never get too complacent or comfortable in their own space, but keep expanding that space in terms of new stuff that we can try out, new things that we can do. I think the ideology is what remains constant, but what all you can do within that space can keep on expanding, and that's something that we've always believed in.
Great.
Thank you, Ranjini, for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having
Anj.
us on your show. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.